Kid Cudi reveals untold stories behind Man on the Moon with Kanye West, MGMT, and Ratatat. I always say this name like the Pokemon. Ratatat. I forgot how to say it. Big Bro interview. So I'm down to see this.
Wave.
I like Kid Cudi.
If you look at the video, Drake's bottle, you could tell he's never cracked open a bottle of champagne. Like it's not really spraying out, but it's still played. Like I couldn't sleep those 2 days. Like I was super nervous. I was like, holy shit, what have I done? I remember like a couple of years later, Kanye, he texted me and he was like, you were right about making her say.
I love Man on the Moon.
Your heart. And I was
classic.
Like,
one of the best hip hop albums. Even though people don't consider it hip hop, which I don't understand.
Big bro, chillin' with big bro, big bro, big bro.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Big Bro, a Wave original presented to you by Adobe Acrobat. It's me, Carter, Big Bro, Moon Man, and today is a very special episode. I'm going to go through the making of Man on the Moon, the end of the day, and talk about how.
Is it valid? I said I like Kanye. Yeah, I like Cudi.
How everything came about, the features, what inspired me, how certain songs were made, and give you some
Day
insight.
and night.
I thought it was important to bring you guys
to yell in your head.
You know, what happened behind the scenes and give you some little tidbits that no one knows about. So here we go. Are you fucking ready? Are you fucking ready? Let's fucking go!
Let's get it.
Life before my album, Man on the Moon. I was working at the vape store. It was my favorite job that I ever had. And I've worked at a lot of different places. Would you like to hear some? Here they go. I'm gonna list them. Wendy's was that was my first job. Wendy's when I was 15.
Jesus.
I worked at this movie theater when I was 17 in Cleveland, in Solon. That was a lot of fucking fun. I worked at Dina DeLuca in New York. That was wild. I worked in the coffee, candy, and nut section. It was just cool because I just ate candy all day. Yeah, I've worked everywhere. I worked at American Apparel, Abercrombie & Fitch. A lot of people know this already. Yeah. I held a lot of fucking jobs. But Bape was my ultimate, that was my dream job. When I first moved to New York, all I could think about was getting a job at Bape. I must have applied there 3 or 4 times. And the 4th time was when I got it.
You know what's crazy is because what is a minimum wage job? Not minimum wage, but low income wage job that a lot of people would want to have. Obviously we know the high end ones like athlete, musician, famous musician, actor, all those kind of things. But him saying that being at Bape is one of his was one of his dream jobs. It's for me, a dream job would be working at a record store, working at a concert venue, where I can get free concert tickets 24/7. You just go to, even if it's a bad band, I still get free tickets. That would be fire. Another one would be maybe an artist, a painter, and not a painter who's really technically good skill. I'm talking about those painters that everybody says I could do that. The people who can get away with just throwing paint at a wall and it's up to you to come up with some conceptual meaning behind the painting. That's a dream job. They get paid millions because people are thinking oh, it's a tax evasion, so people can claim it as an asset, but they don't have to pay taxes on it kind of shit. That whole art tax industry, that black market shit, that's a dream job. You get to live the life and it's super easy because people are just trying to avoid taxes. Come on.
So I was working at the Bape store, and I'll never forget, a Friday, Saturday, during the holidays, store is packed. We got music playing in the store, and we had Kanye's graduation playing. And I remember being on the second floor in the shoe section, right?
Working for
it was empty up there.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool because a sports team, like if you get tickets to and you can watch the game at the same time, top tier. Yeah, I agree.
I was just standing there looking out.
Depending on the sport. If I don't like the sport, I think that would suck. But I'd still go. I would learn to like the sport, you know. But if it was like basketball, you sold. You know, you got me already. I'd even be those guys who like that clean the floor when the athletes fall and like the sweat is on the thing and they have to like mop it up. I do that. That's like front row seats, and you get to watch the game. Oh yeah.
Street, seeing everybody walking doing their Christmas shopping, and I'm just listening to the lyrics of the song, and like when Kanye says like I've been waiting on this my whole life. Like I was just like thinking about my dreams in that moment, you know.
Yeah.
I would just look outside, look at all the people spending their money on all this babe shit. I had no money for it. And I would just dream, you know.
It's tough, man.
Just dream about success and having money and being able to do what I want to do and being able to eat whatever I wanted to eat and travel wherever I wanted to go and take care of my family and just thinking about happier times. During that time, I was working on my mixtape, A Kid Named Cudi. That came out, blew the fuck.
A lot of people don't know this mixtape. It's maybe iconic is not the right term, but it's crucial for what Man on the Moon would become, because a lot of people like only know the whole Maui Wowie song, you know, that blew up on TikTok a year ago or something, like going back to Honolulu just to get that Maui Wowie, the Maui Wowie, you know that song? So a lot of people don't know this, but go back and listen to this and you would be like, wow, like if you've heard Man on the Moon, you would like this, I think. It's like
Kid Named Cudi was when the Cudi
like
train left the station. And it's been riding ever since, right? It hasn't slowed down not once. And that was a beautiful moment because I felt the admiration from the culture. Like, people embraced me. And the mixtape was designed to just show people I was capable. You know? To just show people I was worthy of being an artist. And also just show them my ability as an MC, like that I could really bar up and rap. Also show them the range. You know, that mixtape was all about just showing people like wherever I wanted to go in my career, it's not going to be crazy because they heard me go there on my mixtape, right?
I think that's a good thing for a lot of musicians to start in the early parts of their career. I know nowadays people are just trying to like identify with a specific style. Like they want people to recognize them for one certain thing, but being able to be versatile and diverse and stuff like that, which we see with Cudi's career as he would go on. He would make pop records. He would make punk and grunge and different styles of rock and all these things. And some people don't like it. I personally like the rock style. Like Speeding Bullet to Heaven is one of my favorite Cudi albums. I know a lot of people don't like the album, but I don't understand why. It was good. But I think people were just fixated on the whole like psychedelic 808 rap style of music that he was known for at the time or before that. So yeah, I like the fact that he set up the foundation for him to be diverse and try different things, experiment. He wasn't known. I mean, yeah, he had his style, but he wasn't like somebody who people thought like, you know, you know. I like
so
that.
I just wanted to like set myself
always
up
switch it up.
A free once range you feel like of different direction.
Once you feel like you've perfected something, move on. You shouldn't stay in that for too long, in my opinion.
Right. But the mixtape came out, blew up. I got an offer to tour Australia. It was 3 weeks.
Australia.
I can't remember how many shows. Maybe like 8, 10 shows or something like that. Traveling all around Australia. I remember asking Bape if they would let me take the 3 weeks off. And my manager said they couldn't do that because they needed me. They give me like a week off or maybe, but they couldn't give me 3 weeks. So I had this decision to make. I was like, okay, do I stay working at my favorite job ever? Or do I go and do this tour, have this new experience? There was uncertainty at the other end of that opportunity. It was like I had the opportunity, yeah, but when I came back, I was going to be jobless again. And I didn't know where my next check was coming from. So,
you know what's crazy is that doesn't sound like that hard of a choice. You know, I get it. Finding a new job would be tough, but I'm assuming that the people who are doing the tour, like he's headlining or he's opening for, are covering most of the expenses. Maybe he just has to worry about food and stuff like that. But going to Australia I wish somebody would tell me that I had to go on tour for Australia for 3 weeks, saying that, yeah, you might not have a job after you come back, but you get to go to Australia for 3 weeks. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll find a new job.
There's so many moments in the lore of Man on the Moon, but today's big moment is sponsored by Apple Gift Card. Babe, but I decided in that moment, I was like, hey, I love Babe, but I didn't come here to work a 9 to 5, you know?
Facts.
I came to New York to pursue music, and that's what this is doing for me. I put out
way to be focused,
a
Cudi.
body
Way to
of
be
work
focused.
that people are responding to. People want me to come tour, come do shows all around the world. I'm gonna fucking do it.
Hold on, I forgot. Sorry.
So I quit my job and went to Australia, did the shows.
Wow, look how
came back, was home 2 days, and then I got the call from Plain Pat that Kanye wanted me to come to Hawaii and work on Blueprint 3 and 808's Heartbreak, you know?
Look how that changed his life. Him going to Australia in some way, shape, or form got him put on into Kanye's radar, right? And that helped him. We know what happens after that.
They wanted me to come to Hawaii and work on Blueprint 3 and 808's Heartbreak, you know?
Just to get that.
So we did all that. I had Blueprint 3. That was an epic moment. 808's Heartbreak, another epic moment. That's a whole nother episode right there. We'll talk about the collab albums. After that, people were really waiting on an album from me. There was a lot of pressure because Day and Night was so massive that
huge.
I guess people.
Did you guys hear that whole like Jim Jones feels like he's the reason why Cudi's famous because he did a remix of Day and Night at the time? Like, I talked about this and I said, no, you just made it maybe big in New York for the New York like hood scene, maybe the people who weren't into this new style of hip hop, but for the internet, hell no. The world, people in California, I'm from California, and I knew that song from MySpace, from my older cousins playing it. I didn't know it from no damn Jim Jones. At that time, I was just thinking Jim Jones only for the Diplomats and his solo stuff, you know, the occasional hit songs he would have. But no, not no damn Cudi.
We're expecting
if anything,
more
Cudi
like
might
that.
have put him on. If I'm being honest, from this is
but for me,
biased, obviously.
I never like to repeat myself, and when I had the deal at Motown, a lot of people were like, "Hey, we want another Day and Night, right? We want something like that." And I would just constantly say like, "Hey, I can't, like I can't, this is
it's hard to strike
I can
lightning
only
twice.
do what feels right, and I always like to explore and try new shit, and so with the album, it was like, okay, how can I? If the mixtape was the TV series, then this is the feature film, right? So I wanted to like up the experience, make it super cinematic. I was really inspired by Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon,
Obviously.
The Wall.
Makes
these
sense.
albums that had this really cinematic nature, and I wanted to apply that with my shit. And I went in with Pat in the mill.
You know what's funny is that he says that he was inspired by Pink Floyd for like his albums to have a cinematic feel, and he's talking about like obviously in the lead up to Man on the Moon. Man on the Moon does have a movie quality, but not in the same way as Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall does. Not in this like super expensive feel. It kind of gives me more like indie, pick up a camera, shoot a film with your friends kind of film. And I know the themes of the album are like somebody being alone and, you know, by themselves, a loner, kind of, you know, doing drugs and all this party kind of, you know, atmosphere of Man on the Moon, and like the trials and tribulations, nightmares and dreams and all that stuff. But it gives me more like, you know, indie film more than the super Hollywood produced kind of like lavish, super expensive camera kind of film. Which, you know, they're both good in their own, you know, in their own pockets. But it's interesting that he says that.
And we would just listen to records for hours. Just play records over and over. And Emil had such an extensive collection of vinyls. It was just fun. It was fun. You know, just sitting around with those guys and going through samples and being like, ooh, that sounds dope. Chop that up, you know, loop that up, boom, boom, boom. But it's really cool, man. Like, I just remember knowing that I wanted to make something different, something that sounded like nobody else, something that no one else was doing. You know, we were really thoughtful with the decisions we made as far as like production and features and things like that. In My Dreams, the very first song, that was
definitely pioneered.
I was like, if this is the first song on the album, it has to be like, I'm bringing people into the Cudi world for the first time. And we haven't left this whole time. This whole 18 years I've been doing this shit, we have not left, right?
It was 18
I know people
when
probably
that came
wanted
out.
to know why I did this on the mixtape, but the first track is us in the movie theater seeing a movie. And the DreamWorks logo plays, and you're in the theater, and it's all this shit. Somebody fucking farts. It's crazy. Then the movie starts, and the mixtape starts. I wanted that moment to be like, forever and ever, we're watching a movie. I was like, wherever I go in my career, we're watching the same movie. So when that mixtape started, the movie has been on this whole fucking time. When it came time to do the album, I wanted to really bring a cinematic nature. And In My Dreams was like my intro to the world, like everything I wanted to say. Yeah, I remember when we heard that sample, it was like, it just hit us, man. Like I love a unique sample, and it's samples too that like you don't really, especially at that time, you didn't hear in hip hop. I want to talk about the moment when me and Ye hooked up for Make Her Say, right?
You know, part of me is kind of wondering if Cudi and Ye have made up in some level of, I don't know, like terms, because I remember when Ye was doing his old thing, Cudi would come out and be like, "Yeah, I'm not with that. You know, we're not friends anymore." You know, there's been a lot of, you know, makeups and breakups between the two. So maybe this is just a part of his story that he's okay with telling, because everybody knows Ye is a part of his story in terms of his career. So yeah, I don't know, but it seems like he's about to get like nostalgic, like, oh, what the, you know, the good old days kind of feel. But I don't know how he feels about Ye anymore.
So we were in Hawaii, and Lady Gaga's Poker Face was like a huge record at the time. We're getting in the car, headed back to the hotel. It was like on the radio, and Kanye was like, "Yo, we should sample this." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Bet, let's get it." He's like, "All right, tomorrow when we go to the studio, we're gonna sample it." I was like, "Bet." So I come to the studio, the beat is made. It's
no input from Cudi, just
blown
yeah,
away.
I got it done already.
And what he decided to use was a YouTube of Lady Gaga like playing the song Poker Face like acoustically. It was dope. Like it was nice that he didn't just use the fucking album version, right? He decided to use this version, and it just had a different swing to it. Common was in Hawaii at the time. He's like, put Common on it. Then I jumped on it. Yeah, it was, we sat and listened to it, and then he was like, yo, this needs to be your first single. I was just kind of like immediately, I was like, man, I got a really tight relationship with my mom, you know, my sister. I just don't know if I want my first single to be something like this sexual and graphic and, you know, eye poker face. That's what it's supposed to be called at first, eye poker face.
Really?
Eye poker face.
That's crazy.
Which is very graphic. They were just telling me like, no, I'm telling you, this has to be your first single. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, oh, okay. All right. Okay. I remember like a couple of years later,
wait, what was his first single on that?
He texted me and he was like, you were right about Make Her Say, always follow your heart. And I was like, you son of a bitch. I was like, I fucking told you. No, but I appreciate he was able to tell me that I was right. That was cool. Kanye was always good about that. He'll admit when he's wrong. I'm loving this conversation, but I wanted to take a second to shout out today's sponsor, Acrobat PDF Spaces. I just got home from the most epic tour.
Creator? What is this?
The world. PDF Space. I can just put the file I need to go and never. Most big bro, dope. Huge fan of their work. They came out around the time I came out, so we were kind of all bubbling at the same time.
Yeah, MGMT.
And I thought it would be cool to bring them into the hip hop space and do something trippy, right? So I had them come to the studio, and this day was actually the day that Michael Jackson died. And I was kind of in mourning for the rest of the session. I was like in a funky mood, and we were trying to create, but I got these motherfuckers too drunk and high. They got so blitzed. I remember Andrew was playing on the keyboard, and he was going through synths and shit, and he would hit the keyboard, and it'd make like a weird sound, like wow, and he'd be like, and start giggling and shit. Him and Ben just giggling like little kids, like wow.
That's how they got the Pursuit of Happiness.
I was like, oh my god, we ain't making shit tonight. I was like, I fucked up. I got him too geeked. So we were getting ready to leave. We were there for like hours, man, and we couldn't make anything. When they first got there, they wanted to hear the vibe of the album, so I played them a couple songs. And Pursuit of Happiness, I remember they asked me to play that twice. So before they were leaving, I was like, guys, you know, I really want y'all on the album. Maybe you guys want to sing this hook with me on this song you asked me to play twice, Pursuit of Happiness. Maybe we could just put you guys on the hook. And they were like, okay, cool, let's try it. And they went in, laid it down, and that's how I got them on the album, just like that. It was almost, they were about to...
Not gonna lie, that was a pretty boring story of how he got MGMT. I mean, that's probably how a lot of features work out in terms of like, we were just chilling and shit. I just asked them to be on it. They said, cool. We liked what we came up. Boom. You know, like I thought there was gonna be more to it, but maybe it was just me romanticizing album process making. Like, I love when they have behind the scene footage of people making albums and then like showing their involvement with each other, like documentary films and stuff like that. But sometimes I like the albums even more when they don't have that, because then it lets me come up with imagination and come up with my own story about like how these two artists work together, how it was in the studio, things like that. You know, like, I mean, there's countless examples you could think of.
Believe it almost didn't happen.
Like David Bowie and Freddie Mercury when they made Under Pressure. Like, do you think David Bowie was actually in the studio with them? I would think so. And what was that vibe like? Was Freddie with all the crazy, like, spectacle of David? Or was David on some chill shit and they were like, oh, we thought you would be, like, face full of makeup and all this crazy elaborate stuff. And they'd be like, no, man. You know, there's some regular shit, but who knows?
And I just said, but we got to figure this out because I need y'all on the album. And just quick thinking, I just decided to put them on that hook and it worked. Yeah, that's how Pursuit of Happiness came about. And also, too, when I got that beat, I got it from Evan Mast, one half of Rat-A-Tat. I remember it came fairly easy. You know, there's certain records in my career that came fairly easy. Some records took a few months.
Pursuit of Happiness to this day might still be his biggest song. Maybe Day and Night's up there too, but Pursuit of Happiness got a big push when what's that EDM DJ's name again? The Asian one? Where he made a like a EDM version, like a remix. The remix is huge. That whenever you see that being played live, the crowd goes crazy, bro. It's one of the best songs, and it's a good song even without the remix. But the remix with that is just classic.
Because maybe like I'll write the first verse, and I'm so hype on the first verse, I'm like, oh, there's no way I could beat it, and I get intimidated, and it takes me another couple months to finally get the confidence to do the second verse, right? That's what happened with Cudi's Own. Like Cudi's Own, I did like those verses like a year apart. It just happens like that. But I remember Pursuit of Happiness, that was a quick thing, and when I finished it, I was like, holy fuck, you know, like this is so trippy and so weird and so psychedelic, and you haven't heard anything like this before.
Not in hip hop, for sure.
What have I created? You know,
well,
this is,
you know what I mean?
This is
not
really
like
special. And a lot of records felt like that on the album. You know, a lot of records felt like that. Cudi's Own felt like that. Mm-hmm. That's one of Mill's finest beats. Yeah, I just love Cudi's Own, man. Cudi's Own is just.
Yeah, you made like 4 Cudi's Owns at this point. Cudi's Own 4.
I just love it. It's so fucking good. I gotta start doing it at the shows. I think a lot of fans was asking about Cudi's Own. I gotta get back into that. Wow. It's a good thing I got this amazing mug to hold my water in when I'm thirsty. I'm a little parched. Let me take a little sippy.
Isn't that another ad?
That was good stuff. Shout out to Matty Farino for making this mug for me. I really appreciate it. We love you over here at Big Bro. Keep them coming.
That
Make
is
a blue
horrible
one. Yeah.
Sponsor.
Let's talk about Solo Dolo, man. Solo Dolo, I wanted to make something that seemed really creepy. I wanted to make a song like there is no song in existence that sounds like Solo Dolo. Do you know how hard it is to make music that sounds different out of all music ever created? Like, let's think about that. The wizardry has been at peak levels since.
What is the weirdest song that you've ever heard? Like, it just sounds something completely like, what is this listening? You know, what am I listening to? For me, the weirdest song. Weirdest song. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if you're still here, Jewel, but let me know what the weirdest song ever is for you. Like, and if you say LFL again, I swear to God. Weirdest song probably has to be. I don't know. I don't know. I'll come back to that, but. I was just lurking. No, you good. Weirdest song? I don't know. I'm struggling right now. Maybe like. I don't know. I feel like songs stop being weird once you've heard them a few times. Some Yoko Ono. Yeah, actually, you're 100% right. Anytime Yoko Ono starts screaming and Chuck Berry and John Lennon are looking at her crazy, that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I'm like, yo, what did John see in her? That's up for him, and I'm not going to try to diminish the relationship. She's got enough hate throughout the years, but I don't understand the logic behind that. What was the logic of her screaming when Chuck Berry was there?
Since the very beginning. But you guys know this. I'm just, what is it, preaching to the choir?
Yeah.
But Solo Dolo, I knew, like I was like, this is gonna be so dope. And I've done it at shows in recent years, and the crowd loves it because they don't expect it.
Oh, actually, I know what the weirdest song was. I just thought of it. Lazarus by David Bowie. This song creeped. I remember one time, crazy crazy story. I'll do a little story time about this song. I don't know if you know the lore behind this album, Jewel, but David Bowie released an album. I think it was either 3 days prior or 3 days after his death, and it was like, it was related to his death. So obviously, it was conceptually really cool to see that even to his last dying breath, this guy was still thinking about his art and music and everything, right? So he puts out this album, and this song, Lazarus, talks about, we'll listen to it for a little bit. This is just brutal, this song. Yeah, super brutal. And I remember when it first came out, I was talking to this girl, and she really wanted to, like, get an understanding of why I like music so much. But she wasn't, like, a big music fan. She was, like, a casual consumer of music and stuff like that. But as soon as you get the ball rolling with me when it comes to music, you're not going to stop hearing me yap. Like, I bet I've lost some girls because of how passionate I was about music, that if they weren't as passionate about it, it never was going to work out. It was just kind of like, whatever. So I pick her up, and I said, like, oh, let's just drive around. Let's just, like, pull up to a parking lot or something, and I'll show you some of the music I like. And while I was driving, or while I was going to pick her up, when I finally picked her up, this song was playing once she got in the car. And I remember her face for like the first 30 seconds when she was hearing the song. She was sitting there and being like, what the fuck kind of song is this? Like, what are you listening to? This sounds like some satanic, sacrificial, blood ritual music in the woods. Like, if you ever want to turn a girl off, like, where she doesn't like you anymore with any song, this song is that for me. Because I remember after that, for some reason, she just wasn't, like, really she wasn't captivated, or like she wasn't, like, interested anymore because of this song, which just completely turned her off. So I know now that this song is only going to be played for my wifey in the future. Future wifey, you'll get to hear this song with me. And I don't understand why she thought it was satanic or, like, sacrificial. Good thing I didn't show her the music video. She would have really been like, what is this?
Look up here, I'm in heaven. I've got scars that can't be seen. I've got drama, can't be stolen. Everybody knows me now.
I like his singing. His singing is, like, the best for me. Who the hell is that? I've never noticed there was somebody under the bed. Is that, like, his demons or something? Skeletons.
Look up here, man, I'm in danger. I've got nothing left to lose. I'm so high it makes my brain whirl. Drop my cell phone down below.
Oh. That guitar with the horns.
Ain't that just like me? living like a king.
Damn. It's sad. It's sad hearing her reflect. And, you know, if you don't know the fact that he dies, like, this is his last album. I don't know if he dies after this album is released or before. I know it's, like, within a 3-day span. But it's sad, bruh. It's sad. Because, you know, a lot of people want to be, and at least a lot of artists, like, when they die and stuff, they want to be remembered at their peak, their prime kind of stuff. They don't want to be remembered sick and old in bed, and, you know, but he took that as being a regular person. He didn't want to be some, you know, like, idol kind of, like, puppet, you know, just hang a picture on the wall and remember me like that. He's like, no, I'm a person. I've lived life. I've experienced everything, even death, you know? And he said, I'm going to give you an album for how I think death is going to be like, and all the things surrounding his thoughts around the time. And I low-key want to do a reaction or like a breakdown, a review of the album, like go and listen to it all. Because I haven't listened to it in a few years now. It came out, what, 2016? So it's, damn, that's 10 years ago. Like, this album came out 10 years ago. Wow, I didn't even think of that. Wow. But you guys would understand what I mean. But, like, how did she get satanic from this? It's such a banger. This is such a good song. Like, what was she? I'm glad I didn't date that girl, you know? She lost a real one.
Then I used up all my money. I was looking for your ass. This way or no way.
But no, for sure. 100%.
You know I'll be free. Just like that bluebird. Now ain't that just like me? Oh, I'll be free. Just like that bluebird. Oh, I'll be free. Ain't that just like me?
You see the way he was, like, struggling to figure out what he wanted to write on that paper? That is kind of like symbolism for maybe, like, his last words, his will, you know, multiple different interpretations of, like, what left he has to do and, you know, think about and give, like, you know, all this kind of stuff. And he might not even be talking about death, but just because the album surrounds his death, you make these, you know, these assumptions and these, you know, interpretations of things. Like, this thing could be death itself, just lying around the corner waiting for him to be under his bed. You know, it's right there, you know, and it's just kind of like poking at him, like, don't forget I'm there, like, any day now you're gonna join me and all this kind of stuff, 6 feet underground. Like, even this kind of like imagery right here with the cinematography, the framing of the visual is like someone being buried alive, you know, because do you truly die, or do you just, you know, have an afterlife, and this is just where your body lies for the rest of your, you know, existence, or your physical existence, but your soul goes somewhere else. So it's just kind of like, that's a scary thought, you know. Are you just in a blackness for the rest of, you know? So, you know, it's crazy. Try to get every last word on that paper. Ooh, David. Oh, see, this always made me like, how do you turn this off? This, doesn't that turn that off? Whatever. But this right here, where he like waddles into the freaking closet, that used to always make me like tear up, and like not fully cry, but just be like, God damn, like that's sad. Like you forget how old he is when you see that. That's sad. That's sad. I forgot we were reacting to the Cudi thing, but that definitely has to be the strangest song in my opinion. Like of all time, strangest song, yeah, 100%. It definitely just takes me down a rabbit hole of like, what was he thinking? You know?
They don't expect to hear Solo Dolo. It's just it's a deep cut. Wasn't a single. It felt really creepy to me, and I just wanted to have this tone like, listen good, I don't have nobody. I wanted to like have like this really eerie tone to it. What character in the movie did Solo Dolo play? So Solo Dolo was me. This character who is experiencing a lot of internal pain, and his only place of peace is alone in the dark with no one around. There's no one to talk to. There's no one that understands him. There's no one who can relate to him. It's like the ultimate, like, total, cold, dark place to be.
Do you think he actually, like, do you think this is all made up? Like he's trying to freestyle right now in terms of like what he feels like the character of that movie. Now, I'm not saying that the movie aesthetic wasn't real, but I'm talking about like this Solo Dolo part. Do you think he actually was like, yeah, this is the person who was a dark, lonely place, like a lot of the other parts of the song? Day and Night is about that. Literally, a lonely stoner in his room, like. What?
So that's why it was meant to be. It was meant to be really
like,
creepy.
It sounds like he's freestyling.
And I think we accomplished that goal. Soundtrack to My Life. That was another record that for me, I knew it was going to be in the beginning of the album, and I wanted to have a song that was kind of like, let me explain my purpose as an artist. Let me explain why I'm here, what you're going to see for the next 20 years or so, and I want you to be prepared. So that was like my mission statement, along with In My Dreams. Those two records were definitely like meant for me to address the public and be like, hey, I've arrived. Kid Cudi is here. And I love the opening lines, you know what I'm saying? I got 99 problems and they all bitches. Wish I was Sugar Man, carefree living, but I'm not Sean or MoreLeelai. I'm the Cleveland nigga rolling with the Brooklyn boys. I mean,
it's good that he remembers his lyrics.
Classic. Tasty. Stories of the birth of your favorite melodies. Let's see. I don't have any stories about my melodies because they come from another source. They come from God. They come from the angels. They come from another place. So it's not like I'm inspired to, like, I think about the melody. They just come out. You know, whatever the music is telling me to do, that's what I do. And I kind of follow what feels right, you know? I guess there's one thing I could say about Heart of a Lion, right? On Heart of a Lion, there's a moment where I'm doing the no, 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 yeah, right? So I was in the studio. Anthony Kilhofer is engineer. My dude, Jean-Baptiste, he produced it with his producing partner, Mike, for Free School. And we were in Hawaii. I was just goofing around.
He loves Hawaii.
Like, no, 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 yeah. Just dicking around, right? And I was laughing, and then Kilhofer was like, yo, that sounded really good. I was like, no, man, I was just fucking around. He's like, no, you should use that. And I was like, for real? He's like, yeah. So shout out to Anthony Kilhofer, man. We wouldn't have had no years if it wasn't for him rooting me on. And that's the thing, too, like, that's important for people to see with this podcast. You know, I think early on in my career, people just thought I was like a really serious character, you know, but and though I have a serious side, about 85-90% of the time I'm goofing around. So yeah, a lot of fun times making this album. And it was really after this first album when once it was released and I started to really experience like fame success, when things started getting gnarly. But don't worry, there's gonna be a Man on the Moon 2 episode, so we'll get into that.
Ooh,
we'll get into that.
You know,
let's stay on Man.
Look, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I think as a whole album, I think Man on the Moon 2 is better than Man on the Moon 1. Like, if we're talking about just the song selection, hold on, let's pull it up real quick. Let's pull it up. Right? In my personal opinion. What the fuck? Just started playing. I was like, who the hell is that? In my personal opinion, In My Dreams, cool, it's an intro. Soundtrack My Tell My Life, banger. Solo Dolo, I like it, but I don't know if it's up there with the, like, if we're saying the top three, we know the top three. Intergalactic, I like that. Day and Night, of course. Pursuit of Happiness, of course. Up and Away. Depending on the time of day, yeah, I like how it you know, I like the album. I'm not gonna say I don't like the album, right? But Man on the Moon 2 is a way better album. Consistent wise. In terms of peaks, obviously Man on the Moon 1 has the higher peaks with Day and Night and Pursuit of Happiness. But Man on the Moon 2, way better melodies, way better verses, way better choruses. It's so much catchier. Mr. Rager, don't play this song. Don't play this song. Hey, when I'm not undressed, please, please don't play this song. La 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 la, my, right. People try to tell me be careful, but what does that mean? Be careful. Yeah, right. Woo. Marijuana. Mojo so dope. My mojo so dope. Yeah, my mojo so dope. Hey, we living. Huh? Erase Me with Kanye. I hope you diarrhea. That was such a crazy line. The Mood, Maniac, Mr. Rager. We're not going to even talk about Mr. Rager. Do we have to talk about how great Mr. Rager is of a song? But yeah, to me, Man on the Moon 2, I like it more than Man on the Moon. I think it's an upgrade. This is the one few times where people say which one is better, the original or the sequel. Man on the Moon 3 is where you lose me. I don't think that is comparable to the other two. It's a good album. It's maybe like average, maybe like 5 out of 10 around there. I don't know. I haven't listened to the album in a while, but Man on the Moon 2 though? Come on. Are we really sitting here saying that it's not? Come on. Like, be honest with everybody.
Man on the Moon 1 now. We're going to stay in the light before things get scary. Okay? Don't want to scare anybody. Let's talk about the importance of having Chip the Ripper on the album. Chip is a Cleveland staple. Anybody from the land knows about Chip the Ripper. He was blowing up in the city way before I was. All right? Like, so much so that I would hear people telling me, I'd be like, yo, what's going on back home? And I'd be like, oh man, it's this dude Chip the Ripper. And I'd be like,
he's mad?
No, I'm sorry. But I totally envied him because I was like, damn, man, he's making it hot back home. And
Chip the Ripper.
Shout out my boy Chip, man. That's my brother, man. When we met, we hit it off immediately. Like immediately. And we have the same humor. Like me and Chip, we'll sit in the room in silence together. And then we'll also just talk about just the silliest shit. And we'll just goof off and we'll just laugh. Like you know when you have that one friend.
Is it just me, or is Cudi one of those people who sound high even if they're not high? Like, I'm sorry to say this, but like Cudi is not a good storyteller in terms of this form of storytelling. Musically, obviously, he's a great storyteller. We know, but this format, podcasting, verbal kind of storytelling, just solely that. He talks like somebody that is sedated, struggling to stay up. Like he stops and says what he wants, and we have the same type of humor, and we like to laugh and tell stories and tell people all the crazy things that happen in our life. It's so stop and go that it's like being in a car with somebody who's learning how to drive. Like how they're just so quick to hit the brake and you're just like hitting the freaking thing. And you're just like, all right, are you ever going to just let it cruise? Like you ain't got to be scared and brake at every single thing. You can hit a few things and you'll be okay. Like you can hit the trash can, you can hit the mailbox. Like don't worry about it. But Cudi is just like, like dozing off midway, it feels like. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but Jesus, I need some, maybe we have to bring back the pout. I'm joking. I wouldn't wish
it
that.
It just brings so much joy into your life. That's Chip.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He is a true delight. He's a delightful man, and I love him like a brother. He's the brother I always wish I had. He's my favorite collaborator, favorite smoking partner. I knew that if I was going to be repping Cleveland.
Favorite smoking partner? That's a good question. If you guys had to have a blunt rotation, like I know that's like everybody's asked that before, like who's your dream rotation? And I don't smoke anymore, but my dream rotation would be Bob Marley. I want somebody who would talk a lot, who would just come up with the craziest ideas too. Bob Marley. Could we do like fairy tale character too, like fictional characters? So Bob Marley, Spock from Star Trek. Who's maybe ASAP Rocky and Stanley Kubrick, the movie director guy.
If I was going to do Cleveland right,
full rotation.
I had to put on.
Let me know your guys' rotation.
Chip the Ripper. It was another way to just show people like, hey man, I know y'all saw me move to New York and I'm rolling with Kanye and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I ain't forget where I came from and I know what time it is. It was dope. The alliance is great because, another thing that makes Chip and me special is we represent two different parts of Cleveland. I came up in the suburbs and Chip came up down the way, in the city. But at the same time, we were both really good kids. And we both had the passion to make music. And I think that's where we relate. And Chip had very good parents that kept him in line and kept him out of trouble and made him do his schoolwork. And like Chip is really smart and he'll just have like knowledge about shit, like interesting facts about things. And he's just really smart dude. I learned a lot from him. When we first recorded our records together, we did a couple records for a mixtape or something like that in Cleveland with DJ EV, right? And I found out immediately we had chemistry. It was undeniable.
I have this feeling.
It's because I've worked with people and it's like, and my style is different. My style is unique. And Chip we were able to hang with each other, and we were both at the same place of skill set. And it just worked. So from that point on, I was like, man, I always gotta work with Chip. I gotta keep him close. He's dope. He's got great ideas. He's my favorite MC. So Chip and on to forever. Chip is gonna be my number one collaborator. I'll try to put him on as many albums as I can. We definitely doing the Almighty Glorious album. We are actively producing that right now. Like we're cooking up every once in a while. We'll do a song. A couple months go by, we'll do another song. We're taking our time with it because we're gonna make sure that when this comes out, it's the best shit it could be. So there's definitely going to be an Almighty Glorious album, please believe. But you also going to get a new solo Chip the Ripper album produced by me. That's coming. It's going to be the same approach I've taken with my Man on the Moon albums, but with a Chip the Ripper album. And
you know what I wonder? I wonder how Cudi feels about the reception of his newer music. You know, like I like the Intergalactic movie, you know, the animated film that he was a part of. I don't know if that was his life or something, like what exactly the story, or if that was just a story he told, or if that was him, or I watched the movie. It was a good movie. Cool visuals. It has that kind of like Miles Morales Spider-Man kind of aesthetic. I think it's made by the same people probably. But it was really well done. I really enjoyed it. And the music that goes along with that movie is very Cudi like. I mean, it was made by him. It was made for the album. I mean, for the movie. But I don't think a lot of people talked about it. They didn't talk about Man on the Moon 2. I mean, the Man on the Moon 3. They didn't talk about the recent one he came out with. I forgot the name of it. It was like Schizo or something like that. And I don't know. It just kind of feels like people don't talk about Cudi's music as much as they used to. Maybe that's because he hasn't had like a really big hit from his newer music recently. But I wonder what his reception is.
And with a twist,
what
so
his
it feels like him and not like him trying to be me.
Obviously, he still has fans.
As a parent, there's nothing like getting to spend time with your kid. So be not now and let them know this new chapter be for a second. So Bill Sikowitz did the cover. Amazing illustrator, artist, did a lot of cool covers in hip hop. I reached out to him and I said I want to do something using the moon in my face, and we took some photos that we did with a shoot. We had these photos and we just gave him one, and we draw this and have the moon in some way incorporated with it.
I actually think the cover is
and I
pretty
wanted to feel like the stars and
Hold on,
everything,
let's go back.
and these using the moon artist.
Hold
So
on. Let's look at
Bill
the cover for a
Sikowitz-
second. I'm not gonna lie, the eye-catching point of this cover is the purple and orange. I think those colors aren't used a lot in album covers. I can't think of a lot of purple and orange album covers out there that stand out as much as this one. And the font is very late 2000s, like, you know, Y2K kind of feel, or like 2000s feel. Very, you know, spacey, you know, not NASA, but like, you know, it gives out the alien aesthetic, even the symbol right here. But the face I feel like is not really that recognizable. It is now that you know it, but like when people first see it, I don't know, they just get the outline. Like if this was black or just like purple and orange kind of thing with all of these black lines, I think people still would be able to identify it's a face. But the moon stands out, the purple and the orange stands out, this font stands out. But other than that, I think it's a pretty okay album cover. It's not up there with some of the greatest album covers of all time that even if they weren't related to an album, they'd still be pieces of art. Some album covers are literally just pieces of art that people just put on the album, like the Strokes, the New Abnormal album. Like that's literally a Basquiat painting. But that, I mean, that's not a good album cover either. But you know what I'm saying? Like those are, it's all right.
did the cover. Amazing illustrator, artist, did a lot of cool covers in hip hop. I reached out to him and I said I want to do something using the moon in my face, and we took some photos that we did with a shoot. We had these photos and we just gave him one, and we draw this and have the moon in some way incorporated with it. And I wanted to feel like the stars and everything. It needs to feel like rich. It needs to feel 80s. It needs to feel classic. Like I don't want it to look like, you know, crispy. It needs to look like rich vintage, you know? So if you look at the stars on that, it feels rich, right? And it's the actual, I was like, I don't want like fake stars. Like it needs to be an actual image from NASA, you know? I remember he sent the rough sketch, and I was like, holy shit, this is gonna be amazing. And then he sent the color, and I was like, wow, it blew me away. Like I knew it was like the perfect.
Yeah, the purple and orange is a good
like
tint.
it was just,
that's the best part.
I feel like it matched the energy of the
Stands
album
out.
perfectly. The colors, everything about it. So the back was another thing. I wanted the packaging to look like a DVD, right? I thought, okay, on the back of a DVD, you get like clips from the movie and a little blurb about like what it's about. So I used clips from Day and Night and Make Her Say, took stills from both of those videos, put them on the back. And then I did a kind of like a brief caption, like log line, just discussing the story in the album. I don't know, man. I just thought that's unique. You know, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever like briefed people on what they're about to listen to. And I felt that got people excited.
Maybe.
Like when they picked up the album at the store and then they're reading it on the way home, they're like, oh shit, what's this about to be? Oh, so it was just all about like just getting people excited to experience something new. And that's been my thing on all the Man on the Moons, I like to put a nice summary, a nice log line, kind of talking about what the album's gonna be. Yo, welcome to Ask Big Bro from Adobe Acrobat. These are some questions that we kind of source online. I love doing this, checking in with the fans, seeing what they want to ask me. And this question is, how did you get Common to narrate Man on the Moon? How did that come about? Me and Common met when I first started working with Good Music. He was always around. He was the big bro. And we did make her say, because I was very early on in the process of the album. And then I was putting the album together. I was like, man, I want to make this feel like a cinematic kind of journey. Like I want to have somebody narrate. And I was like, oh, Common has the best man voice. He sounds like such a manly man, the man of men. I'm going to use him on the album and it's going to be fucking perfect. That's how it happened. Let's talk about Day and Night with Somi, who directed that video.
Description. Common has the most manly man voice. Okay. I mean, this is opinion, whatever. You know what's crazy is that I don't usually think narration on albums really does a good job. Maybe a song, that's fine, but in terms of like a storyline on an album, they don't do that well. Like, if I'm thinking right now, like on Dawn FM, the Weeknd album, I think it was what's that movie actor's name? The one that plays the Grinch, Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey does it, right? I didn't really feel like it was necessary. I get it, like the radio station vibe. And then Morgan Freeman with the 21 Savage album. That was another one where it's just like, okay, like cool, yeah, these voices are recognizable, but like narrators don't get this kind of like, how do you say it? Like this power, or this what's the term when you like give somebody permission to like captivate you, like intrigue. Like they don't capture this level of intrigue from an album that's like an hour long, like the most iconic narrators or like uses of narration that I can think of are like National Geographic, where they're giving you a lot of information, a lot of facts, and you visually tie it to like the event that's happening, right? But with an album, there's no visual, so you're just kind of creating your own visual, and sometimes maybe that voice doesn't pair up with the visual in your head, right? Another iconic narrator would be like Dragon Ball Z. Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Like, I'm not a good narrator, but like it's not used a lot, the narrator, but it has its moments where it's like, oh, that, that's iconic, right? Last time on Dragon Ball Z, Goku and Vegeta, all that kind of stuff, right? That kind of like intro to the episode, anime stuff. One Piece does it too. Yeah, there's a lot of forms of narration that have been used that I think with repetition and building this kind of like this history with the audience or with the person consuming it, that's when you start to feel like, wow, that narrator is a part of the story. It's necessary. But with an album, the narrator is usually just kind of, they're forgettable. Their contribution to the album doesn't really ever like stand out. One good narrator on an album that I will say is Rodeo with T.I. I think he does the narration, or like, I guess you could say the introduction to the album on Pornography. When he does that I think was a very good intro. But even then, the song is like an intro type of song. It's not like a, it's not like a separate type of song. You know what I mean? It's not like a song you listen to every day. It's a song only if you listen to the whole length of the album. But he did a good job, so I will say that there are exceptions.
Shout out to Somi for them. It's gonna be fucking perfect. That's how it happened. Let's talk about Day and Night with Somi, who directed that video. Shout out to Somi, French legend. Kanye actually paid for the Day and Night video, which was really generous of him. I didn't have a label deal at the time. It was happening, but we needed to shoot it as soon as possible because the song had been out for a couple years. People had heard it, so we needed to strike fast with a visual. And it was Kanye's idea to just work with Somi. So we shot it in LA. So I came to set wearing something. I can't remember what I was wearing, but I didn't like it. And then Somi had on the Justice Surface to Air jacket, right? And I'd never seen it before. And I was like, yo, what jacket is that? And he told me. And I was like, can I wear it? He's like, yeah, sure. And it was a little bit small on me. And that's why if you look in the video, the jacket is really tight on me.
Yeah, it does. I thought that was
a
on
size
purpose.
too small, but I just loved it so much. I just thought it was badass. It wasn't my jacket. It was Somi's.
Wow.
And I wonder if Somi still has it. It needs to be in a museum somewhere. We're shooting around LA. It was dope, man. It was a dope experience. Like shooting my first official music video. And then I remember seeing it for the first time and being like, holy fuck. And then Travis Barker came down and did a cameo. He's been my longest friend in the business. He was so supportive of me in my career, and he still is. I just saw him a couple weeks ago, and we were just catching up, and I'm going to play him some music, play him what I'm working on. But it was really nice that he showed up and decided to be in the video. That was really cool. Pursuit of Happiness. Brody Baker directed this. Chas Hardner produced this video, actually. He's my homie, and we were talking about ways we could work together, and he was like, yo, man, I could produce a video for you. I was like, oh, shit, okay. So we ended up putting it together, and there's actually multiple versions of Pursuit of Happiness video. There's 2 versions, but we did this one and decided this one should be the one. Drake actually came out to be in the video. Y'all know that, the classic Drake cameo. And I was like, hey, dude, we're going to open champagne bottles and pour champagne on some girls. And Drake was like, all right, bet. And it's so funny because if you look at the video, can we actually put up a clip? If you look at the video, Drake's bottle, you could tell he's never cracked open a bottle of champagne. Like it's not really working. Like it's not really spraying out.
Yeah.
But it's still played. I don't know if anybody noticed that in the video, but shout out to Drizzle. Iceman. So icy. Iceman. Anyway, this album, when I finished this album, I remember 2 days before it came out, like I couldn't sleep those 2 days. Like I was super nervous. I was like, holy shit, what have I done? Did I make a mistake? This shit is so weird. Pursuit of Happiness is so weird. What are people gonna think? Oh my god, this is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be this is either gonna be dope or a fucking nightmare. And I was just like, hey, if I only get a chance to do one album, at least it's this one, you know. So
I want to do a segment on my next stream about songs and movies that are like hand in hand with each other, that are like synonymous with each other. I think Pursuit of Happiness is one of those songs. It has to be synonymous with Project X. I don't know if that's just the generation of like my age of we all remember that movie. Every time a party gets so like it's crazy where it's on the news and things, we think of Project X the movie. We can see the characters. We see them trying to come up with the party, and then Pursuit of Happiness happens at the peak of the movie. I think it's the Steve Aoki version, the remix of Pursuit of Happiness, but regardless, it's still Pursuit of Happiness. But I bet you there are a bunch of a bunch of songs that are synonymous with certain movies. Another one, Celine Dion and Titanic, the one where it's like, here, wherever you are. I forgot the name of the song, but you know what song I'm talking about. But like, I'm going to try to set that up for the next stream about songs that are synonymous with movies.
Gave it to God.
And I think that'd be a fire segment. Let me know.
September 15th, 2009. And I saw the reactions and the excitement from fans. And it was in that moment where I realized that all those days being obsessed about pursuing this career, it wasn't for nothing. You know, I wasn't crazy. You know, I wasn't crazy at all. I knew, man. I knew. It was so validating. And from there, I've just been like, okay, I've been afforded the opportunity to live out my dreams and do everything I ever imagined. So at that moment, I was just relieved that I landed the ship. You know, from the hype, the build-up from the single, from Day and Night, 2 years of hype. The hype after the Blueprint 3, after 808s and Heartbreak, it was so much hype. People were betting on me to fail. And I did not fail. I brought that shit home. You know how many artists have that type of build-up and don't fucking show up on their debut album? Who has had a better a better.
Yeah, actually, to think about it, Cudi's delivery on Man on the Moon, you couldn't ask for a better start to a career. Like, having a bunch of hype because of Day and Night, a big single, and then delivering with a classic, like that is the essential to be even considered a legendary artist. If you are a part of a group and you decide to go solo, that debut solo album has to be a classic. It has to be. So that's not the case here, where he was solo the whole time. But a lot of parts with him were like, you know, set up for him to succeed as long as he delivered. You know, as long as he finished strong, he would have a career, and he did. And he's right.
Entry to the game. Not that many. You know, I'm pretty sure there's a few, but I'm up there too. You know, it was a Cinderella story. Had Day and Night, had a great mixtape, came home with that debut. And then I fucked him up with that sequel, Man on the Moon 2. But that's another episode. So I love y'all. Peace.
Okay, wow. That was a good video. There were some things that I didn't know. Some things I knew kind of already from just knowing Cudi's story. I really enjoyed it. What's going on here? But yeah, I mean, Cudi's a legend. He has amazing, you know, music out there. He's done his thing. Fire. I mean, I wish he kind of got into a little bit more of creation projects. Maybe they're just not that interesting of a story, and maybe I can see why maybe he didn't want to feel like he needed to put that. But I don't know. I wish there was footage. I wish there was other things than just him telling. I already explained how I think he's an average storyteller when it comes to verbally, so you definitely have to watch it in 1.2 speed or something, 1.5 or something like that. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie at all.